Okay, let's unpack this because I think everyone listening has been there. You sit down, you're determined, you're going to conquer that to-do list, right? You feel focused, ready to go.
Laser focus.
Exactly. But then, maybe 15 minutes later, sometimes less, that sharp intention just dissolves. Your brain feels like, I don't know, a sluggish, damp sponge.
Yeah, the fog rolls in.
And the only thing you can actually concentrate on is this overwhelming urge to look at anything but the task you're supposed to be doing. That moment, that sudden loss of focus, it feels universal.
It absolutely is. And the immediate reaction, the one we're sort of conditioned to have, is always to blame ourselves, isn't it?
Totally. It's like, oh, I need more discipline, or I just don't have enough willpower.
Or maybe I just need another coffee. We frame it as a personal failing, a lack of grit or something.
Exactly. But what if I told you? What if that feeling of burnout, that sudden inability to keep concentrating, isn't really about your character or your motivation levels? What if it's actually an urgent signal? Like a physiological distress call from your body, rooted in this accumulating chemical debt that your body literally cannot ignore.
That's the core idea we really need to get our heads around today.
Yeah.
It's a huge paradigm shift.
It is, right.
Because the truth is, that focus failure, it isn't some moral shortcoming. It's biology. It's a clear warning sign. And this deep dive today is all about understanding that sleep isn't just downtime. It's not passive.
Right. Not just switching off.
No, it's an active, incredibly structured process. We're calling it brain repair mode.
I like that. Brain repair mode. So our mission today really is to give you, the listener, the understanding, the data to stop fighting your own body.
Yes, stop fighting biology. Start working with it.
Because the value here is massive, isn't it? Understanding this mandatory process, it's non-negotiable. It's the foundation for peak cognitive performance, for physical health, even emotional stability.
Absolutely. We're talking about reclaiming your focus, boosting how you learn, preventing those really frustrating cognitive bottlenecks.
Yeah.
All by connecting on a deeper level with what your brain actually needs.
So we're moving beyond just, get more sleep.
Way beyond the simple sleep hygiene tips. We're diving into the neural mechanisms, the actual science behind it. This is the stuff that turns those good habits into, well, almost guaranteed results if you apply it consistently.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We've broken this down into 3 main themes for everyone listening. Makes it easier to follow.
Good idea.
First, we're hitting the core chemistry. Like, why do you actually feel tired? We're calling this inescapable mechanism the accumulating debt.
Okay, the debt. Makes sense.
Second, we're going inside. We're exploring the incredible architecture of rest, what your brain is really doing all night. Think of it as a huge operation. The night shift.
The behind-the-scenes maintenance crew.
Exactly. And finally, we're going to distill all this down into 4. Well, maybe slightly counterintuitive, science-backed secrets. These are the actionable strategies for optimizing your focus by perfecting those repair cycles.
Fantastic. Let's do it.
Right. Let's start with that first big hurdle, the illusion of willpower. We all do it, right? Try to power through fatigue thinking that sheer mental strength can just override what our body is screaming at us.
Happens all the time. But the sources we looked at are crystal clear on this. That persistent mental fog, that sudden inability to concentrate, it's a physiological debt. It's not about discipline.
It's tangible, it's measurable, it's chemical.
Exactly. So let's nail down what that specific chemical is. What's the burden that's actually blocking our focus?
Okay, what is it?
The main culprit is a molecule called adenosine.
Adenosine, okay.
Think of adenosine as metabolic exhaust fumes. It's the natural byproduct created when your brain cells use energy.
So just thinking uses energy and makes this stuff.
Absolutely. Every time a neuron fires, when you think, solve a problem, regulate your breathing, even dream, it burns energy, specifically ATP. And adenosine is the waste product left over from that energy use.
Wow. So the longer you're awake.
The more energy your brain consumes, and the higher the concentration of this adenosine builds up in the spaces around your brain cells.
So literally every hour I spend trying to focus or studying or even just being awake is adding to this kind of exhaust cloud. And it's working against me.
Precisely. And it's not just floating around passively. The mechanism here is really key. Adenosine actively engages with the physical structure of your neurons.
Wow.
As the levels rise, these adenosine molecules find and bind to specific docking sites on your nerve cells. These are called A1 receptors.
A1 receptors, okay.
And when adenosine docks onto that A1 receptor, it acts like a potent chemical brake, a very targeted brake.
Chemical brake. Okay, translate that. How does that feel for someone listening? What's the experience of that brake being applied?
It feels like that profound drowsiness setting in.
Yeah.
You know, that heavy-lidded sensation, the sudden drop-off in mental sharpness.
Yeah. The point where reading the same sentence 3 times doesn't help.
Exactly. Physiologically, when adenosine binds to those A1 receptors, it actively suppresses the release of other neurotransmitters, the excitatory ones. Things like dopamine, norepinephrine, the chemicals essential for keeping you alert, maintaining attention, and performing complex thought.
So it damps down the go signals.
It does. And this buildup, this braking action, creates what scientists call powerful and really non-negotiable sleep pressure.
Sleep pressure. So, okay, let's connect that back. When my focus just vanishes after 15 minutes on a task, that's not me being weak-willed.
No.
That's the chemical brake being slammed down by these high levels of adenosine that have built up. It's finally overwhelming the stay alert signals.
That is the biological reality. Now, you can mask this feeling temporarily. That's where things like caffeine come in.
Oh, okay. How does caffeine fit?
Caffeine is actually quite brilliant, molecularly speaking. Its structure is very similar to adenosine. So similar, in fact, that it can fit into those same A1 receptors.
It steals adenosine's parking spot.
Exactly. It acts like a molecular blocker. It sits in the receptor, preventing adenosine from binding there. And by doing that, it allows those excitatory neurotransmitters, like dopamine, to keep flowing for a while longer.
So it keeps the go signals going.
Right. But, and this is crucial, it's only a temporary block. The caffeine doesn't get rid of the adenosine. The adenosine is still there, still accumulating in the background, just waiting for the caffeine to wear off and vacate those receptors.
That's a great way to put it. Caffeine is just like putting a cover over the warning light on your dashboard. It doesn't fix the engine problem. The debt is still racking up.
Precisely. You haven't paid the bill. You've just temporarily silenced the collector.
Okay, so sleep pressure, driven by adenosine, is one massive force pushing us towards sleep. But you mentioned it's a dual force system. What's the other half that dictates when we should ideally pay that debt?
Right. Sleepiness isn't just about how long you've been awake. It's governed by 2 interacting forces. We have the sleep pressure, that's the adenosine buildup, which increases the longer you're awake and is primarily cleared out by deep sleep.
Okay, pressure building up. Got it.
And then we have the biological clock. This governs the timing, the daily rhythm. It's controlled by a tiny but incredibly important cluster of neurons deep in your hypothalamus called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short.
SCN. That sounds important.
It is important. The SCN is your body's master timekeeper. It coordinates countless bodily functions on a roughly 24-hour cycle.
And it responds to external cues, right? Like light.
Exactly. That's its main synchronizer. Specialized light-sensitive cells in your retina, completely separate from the ones you use for vision, detect the levels of ambient light, especially the dimming light in the evening.
Okay.
They communicate directly with the SCN. And in response to darkness, or the absence of bright light, the SCN signals another part of the brain, the pineal gland, to release the hormone melatonin.
Melatonin. Everyone's heard of that, usually from supplements.
Right, but its natural function is key here. Melatonin is often called the hormone of darkness, or the gatekeeper. It doesn't directly knock you out or induce sleep itself.
It doesn't. I thought it did.
Not directly. What it does is signal to your entire body, every cell, really, that it's nighttime. It announces that this is the optimal, the safest, the most biologically appropriate time to prepare for the nightly repair cycle. It opens the gate for sleep to occur.
Okay, so the SCN uses light to set the timing, and melatonin is the messenger saying, okay, folks, nighttime maintenance window is opening soon.
That's a perfect analogy. The gatekeeper is unlocking the door.
So if the biological clock, SCN and melatonin, determines the timing, and sleep pressure, adenosine, determines the intensity or the need, connecting these two helps us finally understand that dreaded mid-afternoon slump, doesn't it?
Ah, yes, the infamous 2 o'clock fog or whatever time it hits you. It is absolutely real, it's physiological, and it's highly predictable.
Why does it happen then? It's not just my lunch making me sleepy.
Not primarily, no. Although a heavy lunch can contribute slightly. But the main drivers are those two forces aligning. Typically, this dip happens somewhere between, say, 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. It's a direct result of that steadily rising adenosine level. Remember, it's been building since you woke up, combined with a slight, natural, pre-programmed dip in alertness dictated by your SCN. There's often a small scheduled release of melatonin around this time, too.
Wow, so it's a double whammy, a rising sleep pressure, and a dip in the clock's alerting signal.
Exactly. It's your biology basically nudging you, saying, hey, maybe a short rest period will be good right about now. Think about siesta cultures. They were likely responding to this natural biological rhythm.
Okay, so for you listening right now, think about those days. You felt pretty good all morning, maybe even super productive, and then bam, around 2:33 p.m., you just hit a wall. Suddenly needing like 20 minutes just to reread a simple email, or feeling an overwhelming urge to close your eyes. That's not laziness.
Not at all. That's the chemical break, adenosine getting stronger, and the gatekeeper, SCN melatonin, briefly cracking open the sleep door. They're coordinating to demand your attention.
Which really highlights why trying to just willpower through that slump, maybe with more caffeine, is often fighting a losing battle, isn't it?
It really is. The system is designed fundamentally to preserve your energy and prevent catastrophic system failure, even if that preservation interferes with your afternoon spreadsheet work. Biology is persistent.
Okay, so we've firmly established the debt. That accumulating adenosine fogging up the streets of our mental metropolis. Let's call it Brainopolis.
Like that, Brainopolis.
So the obvious next question is, how does Brainopolis pay back this debt? How does it clear the fog? That takes us inside the workings of the night shift. What happens when the city shuts down for maintenance?
Right. So imagine Brainopolis at night. The lights dim, thanks to melatonin. The central clock tower, the SCN, has signaled it's time for wind down. The whole city is prepping for some really complex essential maintenance.
And there's an order to this, right? First things first.
Absolutely. The first priority is cleaning up the physical mess and repairing the infrastructure. This is primarily managed during deep sleep, also known as non-REM Stage 3 sleep, or NREM 3.
Deep sleep, the really heavy stuff.
Exactly. And critically, this phase is heavily concentrated in the first half of the night. So if you consistently cut your sleep short, maybe going to bed late but waking up early, this deep restorative sleep is the first thing you sacrifice.
Okay, so NREM 3 is the master cleanup phase. Now, our sources mention something fascinating, a unique plumbing system that only works when we're asleep.
That's right. It's one of the most incredible discoveries in sleep science in recent decades. During deep NREM sleep, the brain activates what's called the glymphatic system.
Glymphatic, like lymphatic, but for the brain's glial cells.
Precisely. It's the brain's dedicated waste disposal network. And it's not just passive drainage, it's an active, coordinated process. To get this citywide power washing operation going, something remarkable happens to the brain cells themselves. The neurons and also the support cells called astrocytes.
What happened?
They actually shrink.
Wait, hang on. The brain cells physically shrink. How much?
The research indicates that during deep NREM sleep, the volume of the individual cells can decrease significantly, causing the space between the cells, the interstitial space, to increase by as much as 60%.
60%, that's huge. Why does that happen?
It creates wide channels. This massive increase in space allows the cerebrospinal fluid, or CSF, think of it as the brain's cleaning fluid, to be pumped forcefully through these newly opened channels. It rushes through the brain tissue, washing away the metabolic waste products that accumulate during the day.
Including that adenosine we talked about, the chemical break.
Absolutely. Adenosine is one of the key waste products fleshed out by this lymphatic clearance. It washes away the molecules that have been binding to those A1 receptors, effectively releasing the brake.
Wow. So if we cut that deep sleep short, especially early in the night, we're not just tired the next day. We are literally leaving the garbage on the neural streets.
That's exactly it. The physical trash, the byproducts of thinking and being awake, haven't been properly collected and removed.
And that translates directly to that next day. Mental fog, confusion, slower thinking.
The garbage collection was incomplete, leading to, essentially, a cognitive traffic jam. Information can't flow smoothly because the pathways are clogged with yesterday's waste.
Makes perfect sense. And it's not just cleaning, right? There's repair work happening, too, during NREM 3.
Yes, absolutely. While the sanitation crews, the lymphatic system, are power washing, there are also specialized repair teams hard at work on structural reinforcement. This is when the body releases its largest surge of human growth hormone, HGH.
HGH, usually associated with growing kids or bodybuilders.
Right, but it's crucial for adults too. Every single night, HGH is essential for repairing cellular damage, maintaining tissue integrity throughout the body, muscle repair, bone health, and regulating metabolism. It's the physical reconstruction and upkeep of brainopolis and the entire body it governs.
So that deep, physically restorative feeling you get after a really good long sleep, that's partly the HGH having done its job, repairing the day's wear and tear.
That's a huge part of it. And physiologically, this deep NREM stage is marked by those very characteristic slow delta waves on an EEG. Big, slow, highly synchronized brain waves. That's why it's so hard to wake someone up from this stage. The brain is deeply offline for this critical maintenance.
Okay, so NREM 3 handles the heavy lifting, cleanup and physical repair, mostly early in the night. Once that's underway, do different specialists take over later?
Exactly. Once the most urgent physical cleanup is managed, then the specialists clock in. These are the highly skilled teams responsible for information management, memory consolidation, and emotional processing. This work primarily happens during REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep.
REM sleep, famous for dreaming.
Famous for dreaming, yes, but doing so much more underneath the surface. And REM cycles tend to become longer and more intense as the night progresses, particularly in the second half of the night, after the bulk of deep sleep is done.
So if NREM is the physical repair crew and sanitation department, REM is more like the information management division of brainopolis.
Good analogy. And within that division, let's talk about two key departments. First, there's the archives.
The archives, what happens there?
Think of the archives as the city's emotional filing department. Their main job during REM sleep is to take the experiences of the day, the events, the conversations, the stresses, the new learnings, and process their emotional charge.
Process the emotional charge? How?
It's fascinating. Research suggests that REM sleep helps the brain consolidate the factual aspects of a memory while simultaneously dampening the activity of the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm center, which was likely highly active when the memory was formed.
So it files a memory but turns down the emotional volume associated with it.
Exactly. The archives are essentially working to detach the intense emotion from the memory itself. It integrates the experience into your broader life story, but without the raw, immediate emotional sting.
That's incredibly profound. It means sleep doesn't just help us remember what happened. It helps us feel less intensely negative or stressed about difficult experiences over time. It helps resolve emotional distress.
Precisely. This is likely why people dealing with significant trauma or chronic high stress often have disrupted REM sleep. The brain is struggling with this overwhelming emotional filing task, and it's why going to bed very angry or anxious can be counterproductive.
Because if REM is fragmented,
Those intense emotions might get filed without the necessary dampening. They remain raw, leading to more anxiety or reactivity the next day when the memory is triggered.
wow. Okay, so that's the archive's vital emotional regulation. What's the other key department in REM? You mentioned the workshop.
Yes, the workshop. Think of this as the cognitive rehearsal studio or the skills consolidation center.
Rehearsal studio.
This is where new procedural memories and complex skills get cemented. Things like learning a new language phrase, mastering a tricky guitar chord, improving your tennis serve, or even getting better at a complex calculation or a new software program.
How does it rehearse them?
During REM, the brain appears to replay the neural sequences associated with these newly learned skills, sometimes up to 20 times faster than they happened in real life. This rapid-fire replay strengthens the connections between the neurons involved.
It's like practicing in fast forward while you sleep.
Essentially, yes. It consolidates the learning, making the skill smoother, more automatic, less effortful when you try it again while awake. It moves the skill from conscious, clunky effort towards unconscious, automatic reflex.
Okay, that explains that feeling. Can you remember a time when you were really struggling with something, maybe learning a piece of music or a complex coding problem you felt totally stuck and frustrated one evening?
Oh yeah, many times.
You go to sleep, maybe feeling defeated, but the next morning you try it again and it just flows. It feels like your brain somehow magically fixed it overnight.
Yes, that aha moment the next day. That's the workshop technicians having put in a solid overnight shift. That palpable improvement is the direct evidence of REM sleep consolidating that procedural memory.
Incredible. So the whole night is this highly coordinated dance between these different stages and functions.
Absolutely. And it runs in these repeating, remarkably consistent cycles. The entire sequence from light sleep to deep NREM sleep, back to lighter sleep, and then into REM sleep typically takes about 90 minutes to complete.
90 minutes. That's the magic number for one full cycle.
It's the average, yes. And the composition of that cycle changes throughout the night.
How so?
The maintenance schedule is smart. Early in the night, those first few 9-minute cycles are dominated by NREM Stage 3 deep sleep. The priority is paying off that physical adenosine debt and doing the heavy repairs.
Right. Garbage collection first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As the night goes on and that initial sleep pressure eases because the adenosine is being cleared, the proportion shifts. Later cycles dedicate progressively less time to deep NREM and significantly more time to REM sleep.
So the focus shifts from physical cleanup to cognitive organization and emotional filing later on.
Precisely. The brain prioritizes physical restoration first, then the more complex mental housekeeping.
The lesson here seems really clear then. If you wake up after only, say, 4 or 5 hours, maybe 3 cycles, you might have done a decent chunk of the NREM cleanup.
You might have cleared some of the adenosine fog, yes.
But you've likely shortchanged yourself significantly on the REM sleep needed for emotional processing and skill consolidation.
It's exactly right. You need to complete multiple full 90-minute cycles, ideally 5 or 6 for most adults, totaling 7-9 hours to get the full benefit of both the essential physical cleanup and the critical cognitive and emotional organization required for optimal focus and functioning the next day. Cutting sleep short at either end compromises the whole operation.
Okay, we've laid out the science. We understand the accumulating debt of adenosine, this chemical break. We understand the sophisticated night shift at an REM cleanup crew, the REM specialists in the archives and workshop, all working in these 90-minute cycles.
We've covered the why and the what.
Exactly. Now let's get really practical. Because knowing the mechanisms is one thing, right? But applying it consistently, that's where we actually achieve that optimized focus and performance we're all after.
This is where the rubber meets the road.
So these are the 4 essential science-backed secrets, the actionable strategies to help ensure your brain consistently enters that powerful automatic repair mode every night.
And before we dive into these secrets, it's worth just briefly underlining the stakes again. When these repair cycles are chronically incomplete, meaning consistent sleep debt over weeks, months, years, the consequences go way beyond just feeling foggy or unfocused.
It's not just about productivity.
No. The scientific literature clearly links chronic sleep deprivation to a whole host of serious health problems. Impaired glucose metabolism leading towards type 2 diabetes, increased risk of hypertension and cardiovascular disease, weakened immune function, mood disorders. The list is long and serious because sleep is when the brain regulates the entire body. Compromise sleep, you compromise everything.
The stakes really couldn't be higher. Okay, message received. Let's get into secret #1. Prioritize quality over quantity. We hear get 8 hours all the time, but you're saying 8 bad hours might be useless.
It can actually be worse than, say, 6.5 hours of solid, uninterrupted, high-quality sleep. The true measure of restoration isn't just time in bed. It's the quality and continuity of those sleep cycles.
Why is fragmentation so bad?
Fragmented sleep meaning you're waking up frequently, maybe due to noise, light, stress, or an underlying issue like sleep apnea, constantly interrupts those crucial 90-minute cycles. Your brain keeps getting pulled out of deep NREM or REM before the work is finished.
So the cleanup crew or the specialists never complete their tasks.
Exactly. Imagine the glymphatic system just starting its power wash in NREM 3, and then suddenly you're woken up. The process halts prematurely. Or the emotional filing in REM gets cut off mid-sort. It's like a construction crew trying to build something, but only getting 10 minutes of work done before being told to stop, then starting over later. The result is shoddy patch jobs, incomplete repairs.
And that leads directly to those cognitive bottlenecks the next day. Poor focus, bad memory, irritability.
Precisely. The brain simply didn't get the chance to complete its essential overnight tasks.
Okay, so quality is king. But how can someone listening without access to a sleep lab actually measure the quality of their sleep?
It's simpler than you might think. Start by keeping a basic but rigorous sleep diary for just 1 week. It's really illuminating.
What should they track?
Track your bedtime, your wake-up time, obviously.
Yeah.
But crucially, pay attention to 2 potential red flags for poor quality. First, how long does it typically take you to fall asleep once you're in bed trying to sleep?
Okay, time to fall asleep. What's a bad sign?
Consistently taking more than 30 minutes to fall asleep is often a sign of either poor wind-down preparation or perhaps not having built up enough sleep pressure. Good quality sleep usually starts relatively quickly.
30 minutes. Got it. What's the second red flag?
How many times do you wake up during the night, and for how long? Frequent disruptive awakenings that you remember are a clear sign of fragmented sleep. And finally, add a subjective rating. On a simple 1 to 10 scale, how sharp and alert did you feel during the day? Connecting your sleep patterns to your daytime function is key.
That makes sense. A simple diary can reveal a lot about quality. Okay, moving to secret hashtag. This one is huge for managing that master clock, the SCN. We have to defeat the weekend catch-up myth.
Oh, this is a big one. So many people run on fumes all week, accumulating that adenosine debt, and then think they can just erase it all by sleeping in until noon on Saturday and Sunday.
We know it doesn't really work. You still feel rough on Monday. But why doesn't it work biologically?
Because it throws your internal biological clock, the SCN, into total chaos. It creates what researchers call social jet lag.
Social jet lag. I like that term. Explain it.
Your SCN, your master clock, is incredibly stable, but also incredibly slow to adjust. Think about real jet lag flying across time zones. Your SCN can really only shift its timing by about 1 hour, maybe 2 at the absolute maximum per day.
Okay. It adjusts very slowly.
Very slowly.
Mm.
So when you shift your sleep schedule dramatically on the weekend, say, you wake up at 6 a.m. Monday to Friday, but then sleep until 11 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, you've just forced a 5-hour shift onto your internal clock.
5 hours.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
From your SCN's perspective, trying to wake up at 6 a.m. on Monday morning feels like trying to wake up at 1 a.m. internally. You've essentially given yourself the biological equivalent of flying from New York to California every single weekend and then expecting your body to instantly snap back on Monday.
Wow. Okay, wait. So that groggy, disoriented, absolutely dreadful feeling on Monday morning, it isn't just psychological dread about the work week?
Nope. A huge part of it is physiological. Your internal clock is genuinely confused. It thinks it's still the middle of the night, according to the weekend schedule it just experienced, even though your alarm clock is screaming that it's 7 a.m.
My body clock thinks it's 4 a.m. somewhere else.
Pretty much. And remember, that adenosine debt you accumulated during the week. Sleep pressure is relentless. While sleeping in might feel good momentarily, it doesn't erase the underlying need or fix the clock confusion. You simply cannot biologically train your body to need less sleep than it requires.
So what's the actionable tip here? How do we defeat social jet lag?
Consistency is paramount, 7 days a week. The best strategy is the 1-hour rule. Try to limit the difference between your weekday wake-up time and your weekend wake-up time to no more than 1 hour.
Just 1 hour difference, Max.
Ideally, yes. If you wake at 7 a.m. during the week, try to wake no later than 8 a.m. on weekends. It might sound tough, but maintaining that consistent wake-up time is the single most powerful signal you can send to stabilize your SCN and improve sleep quality across the entire week.
Consistency anchors the clock. Got it. Okay. Secret, #3, nap strategically and respect fatigue. And you mentioned this comes with a really serious warning, especially around cognitive impairment.
Yes, this is critical, bordering on a public health announcement. The science is unequivocal. After you've been continuously awake for about 17 to 19 hours, your cognitive performance degrades significantly.
Oh, significantly.
Your reaction time slows down, your judgment becomes impaired, your ability to assess risk decreases to a level that is measurably equivalent to having a blood alcohol content, BAC, of 0.05% or higher.
0.05% BAC. That's legally impaired for driving in many places.
Exactly. So being severely sleep deprived, even just from one long day or a poor night's sleep, can make you functionally as impaired as someone who has been drinking. Drowsiness while driving or doing any safety-critical task is incredibly dangerous.
That comparison is just staggering. It really needs to sink in for people. So if we feel that level of fatigue setting in, especially when driving,
the only safe response is to stop. Pull over. If you're driving and you notice those telltale signs, your eyelids feel incredibly heavy, you catch yourself drifting out of your lane, maybe you can't quite remember the last few miles you drove, or you're yawning repeatedly, you must pull over as soon as it's safe to do so.
then what's the fix then? Coffee? Energy drink?
No. The only truly effective short-term countermeasure for acute drowsiness behind the wheel is sleep. Even a brief nap. A 20-minute power nap can significantly reset that immediate fatigue signal and improve alertness enough to continue driving safely for a short while, or preferably to get somewhere you can rest properly.
Okay, so naps can be powerful tools, not just for emergencies. But how do we use them strategically during the day without messing up our night's sleep or feeling worse afterward?
Naps are great, but they need finesse. The key is mastering the power nap. 2 main rules: duration and timing.
Okay, duration first. How long?
Limit the nap to 15 to 20 minutes, no longer.
Why so short?
Because that duration generally keeps you within the later stages of NREM sleep, states 1 and 2. If you nap for much longer, say 30 or 40 minutes or more, you risk dropping down into deep NREM Stage 3 sleep.
With the slow wave sleep.
Right. And waking up directly from that deep sleep causes what's called sleep inertia. That's that horrible, groggy, disoriented feeling where you actually feel worse and more cognitively impaired than before you napped. It can take a while to shake off.
Ah, the dreaded post-nap slump. Keep it short to avoid that. Got it. What about timing?
Timing is also crucial. The optimal window for a power nap is usually during that natural mid-afternoon dip in alertness we talked about, typically between 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. Napping then aligns with your circadian rhythm's slight dip.
Makes sense. Any time to avoid.
Yes. Critically, avoid napping too late in the day, generally no later than 3 p.m. or maybe 4 p.m. at the latest.
Why is that?
Because napping later than that can dissipate too much of the adenosine sleep pressure that you need to build up throughout the day to be able to fall asleep easily at your desired bedtime. A late afternoon nap can steal sleep from the upcoming night.
Okay, strategic napping. 15-20 mins max, ideally between 1-3 p.m., and always prioritize safety if feeling drowsy. Perfect. Now, the final secret. #4. Engineer your wind-down protocol. You're saying the repair cycle doesn't just magically start when our head hits the pillow?
Absolutely not. Good sleep needs preparation. You have to actively manage your behavior and your environment in the hour or two before bed to signal clearly to your brain, particularly the SCN, that the night shift is about to begin. It's about creating the right conditions.
Like setting the stage for sleep.
Exactly. We strongly recommend implementing a consistent 1-hour wind-down protocol every night. This means dedicating the last 60 minutes before you intend to be asleep to specific sleep-promoting activities and avoiding sleep-disrupting ones.
Okay, break it down. What are the key components of this wind-down hour?
Let's focus on 3 critical areas. The first, and perhaps most impactful, is light and media control.
Light. We talked about the SCN being sensitive to it.
Extremely sensitive, especially to certain wavelengths. In that final hour before bed, you need to significantly dim all the ambient lights in your home. And critically, you must turn off all screens, phones, tablets, computers, televisions.
1 full hour before bed, no screens at all. That's tough for many people.
It is tough, but it's biologically necessary. The blue light frequencies emitted strongly by these screens are particularly potent stimulators for specialized cells in your retina, containing a photopigment called melanopsin.
Melanopsin, okay.
When melanopsin detects that blue light, it sends a strong daytime signal directly to your SCN. This actively suppresses the SCN's instruction to release melatonin. So scrolling your phone in bed is chemically telling your brain it's still midday, directly delaying the onset of sleepiness.
Wow, so dim lights and absolutely no screens for the last hour. Okay. What's the second area of the wind-down protocol?
Chemical avoidance. This is where many people unknowingly sabotage their sleep quality, especially the restorative, deep NREM stages.
You mean things like caffeine and alcohol?
Precisely. We need strict cutoff times based on how long these substances linger in your system. Let's talk about half-life again. That's the time it takes for your body to metabolize and eliminate half of the substance you consumed.
Okay. Caffeine's half-life.
Caffeine has a surprisingly long average half-life of about 5 to 6 hours. Some people metabolize it slower, some faster. But think about that. If you have a coffee or an energy drink at 4 p.m.,
half of it is still active in my system at 9 or 10 p.m.
Exactly. Half the stimulant is still circulating, still blocking those adenosine A1 receptors, preventing you from feeling the natural sleep pressure you should have built up. This makes falling asleep harder and can also make sleep lighter and more fragmented.
So the rule for caffeine.
A conservative and safe rule is no caffeine within 6 to 8 hours of your intended bedtime. For most people, that means cutting off caffeine around 2 p.m.
2 p.m. cutoff. Ouch, but okay. What about alcohol? Many people use a drink to relax before bed.
That's one of the biggest sleep myths. Alcohol is a sedative initially. It can make you feel drowsy and fall asleep faster. That part is true.
What?
But as your body metabolizes the alcohol during the night, it leads to major sleep disruption. Alcohol significantly suppresses REM sleep, particularly in the first half of the night. Remember REM, the crucial stage for emotional processing and memory consolidation.
Yeah, the archives and the workshop.
Alcohol basically shuts them down temporarily. Then, as the alcohol wears off, you often experience a rebound effect, leading to lighter, more fragmented sleep and disruptive awakenings in the second half of the night. So while it might help you nod off, the overall quality and restorative power of your sleep is severely compromised. Best to avoid it close to bedtime.
Okay, so control light, avoid late caffeine and alcohol. What's the final piece of the wind-down puzzle?
It's about shifting your brain state. Mindful relaxation. The goal in that last hour is to shift your brain out of active, alert problem-solving mode and into a calmer, quieter state.
How do we do that?
Engage in low-stimulus, calming routines that signal safety and relaxation to your nervous system. Things like reading a physical book, not on a backlit screen, listening to gentle, calming music, perhaps taking a warm bath or shower. The drop in body temperature afterwards promotes sleepiness. Light stretching, meditation, deep breathing exercises, or even journaling to get racing thoughts out of your head and onto paper.
So deliberately switching gears from doing to being.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about actively assisting your SEN and your brain chemistry in making that smooth transition towards the night shift. This consistent hour of wind down primes the system for high-quality restorative sleep.
Okay, this has been a really deep dive. We've journeyed from understanding that frustrating 15-minute focus limit, realizing it's not about willpower,
Right, moving past that myth.
to uncovering the real culprit, that accumulating chemical debt of adenosine, and then exploring the incredible complex maintenance work, the night shift happening during NREM deep sleep and REM sleep.
The cleanup crews and the specialists doing their vital work.
It paints such a clear picture. Your lack of focus isn't a character flaw, it's a physiological distress signal. It's your brain telling you it has an unpaid, absolutely non-negotiable chemical bill that needs settling through proper sleep.
We really have to fundamentally shift our perspective. Stop viewing sleep as some kind of optional luxury or something we can hack or cheat consistently.
Yeah, it's not a sign of weakness to need sleep.
Not at all. We need to start treating it, truly treating it, as the mandatory third pillar of health, right up there alongside a conscious diet and consistent exercise. It's equally vital.
Absolutely. Now, if you're listening and maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the strategies, the sleep diary, the 1-hour rule, the nap timing, the wind-down protocol, remember this.
It's not about perfection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This process is definitely not about achieving perfect sleep every single night. That's unrealistic. It's about consistency and making gradual improvements, embracing mistakes, maybe trying something that doesn't quite work and adjusting. That just shows a growth mindset. Start small.
Pick one thing.
Yeah, pick one thing. However, we do need to include a critical caveat here. While improving these sleep hygiene factors helps the vast majority of people, persistent sleep problems might indicate something more serious.
That's right. Sometimes, despite doing everything right with your habits, there could be an underlying clinical sleep disorder that needs professional evaluation and treatment.
So, what are the red flags? When should someone listening consider talking to a doctor or a sleep specialist?
There are a few key signs. If, despite implementing good sleep hygiene like the wind-down protocol, you consistently take more than 30 minutes to fall asleep night after night, that's a flag.
Okay, chronic difficulty falling asleep.
Or if you wake up frequently every night, maybe multiple times, and find it very difficult to get back to sleep, leading to significantly reduced total sleep time.
Frequent, prolonged night awakenings.
Another major one is experiencing excessive daytime sleepiness that severely impacts your daily life. For example, if you find yourself falling asleep or fighting intensely to stay awake in sedentary situations like meetings, watching TV, or even sometimes while driving, especially if you fall asleep very quickly, say in under 5 minutes when you sit down in a quiet place.
That uncontrollable urge to sleep during the day.
Yes. These kinds of persistent issues could indicate conditions like chronic insomnia, sleep apnea, restless leg syndrome, or narcolepsy. And these require proper diagnosis and management from a healthcare professional.
So, seeking professional help isn't a failure either. It's essential health management if these red flags are present.
Absolutely. It's taking your health seriously.
Okay, final synthesis then. You now understand the mechanics. You know adenosine acts as a brake. You know the glymphatic system cleans house during deep sleep. You know REM sleep files emotions and skills. Honoring this entire nightly repair cycle is the most direct, scientifically backed route to reclaiming your focus and boosting your cognitive function.
It's biology, plain and simple. Work with it, not against it.
So here's a challenge for you listening right now. Knowing what you know now about the chemical break, about social jet lag, about your brain's absolute need for this structured repair mode, what is one small, concrete behavioral change you will commit to trying this week, starting tonight, to better honor your brain's necessary repair cycle?
Just one thing to start.
Maybe it's finally enforcing that 1-hour rule for wake-up times on the weekend. Or perhaps it's setting a hard cutoff for caffeine at 2 p.m. Maybe it's putting your phone away a full hour before bed. Pick one.
Start noticing these concepts playing out in your own life. Feel that rising sleep pressure in the evening. Notice the impact of bright light late at night. Connect the dots, and then try applying just one of these secrets consistently. You really can unlock a whole world of possibilities for regaining that focus.
We really hope this deep dive has been illuminating and empowering. If you found it valuable, please consider sharing it with anyone else you know who struggles with that afternoon fog or feels like they're constantly fighting fatigue.
And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our future deep dives.
Yes, because join us next time. We're going to build directly on this. We'll explore how we can potentially optimize our learning and memory consolidation even further by strategically timing our study or practice sessions around these sleep cycles, specifically leveraging the power of REM Sleep, the workshop, even more effectively.
It gets even more interesting. More to come soon. Until then, sleep well and stay sharp.